So what about the speech? You think the typical Dream Extreme, action sports capital of the world, new business opened, ribbon cutting?
Well, we did have a lot of new businesses this year, and I believe that the Chamber would appreciate some type of recognition.
And I think we need to expand audiovisuals this year, a little bit more than last year. And food. I think we need some food. People are probably pretty hungry. Well, not me, I'm a nervous wreck, but everybody else is.
You know that costs money, right? What about the drink tickets? Everybody appreciates the drink tickets.
What about the centerpieces? Maybe we can do something like Temecula and Menifee and have the business create them.
Wait a minute. I think we're way off track here. People don't come to the State of the City address for centerpieces or food or drink. Maybe the drink a little bit, yeah. Okay. We need to start by thinking about the why. Why do people come to the State of the City address? Why is it that it's the can't miss event every single year?
True, but with all due respect, it's just the State of the City.
Just the State of the City. Ladies and gentlemen, the State of the City is our opportunity to tell our story about the City of Lake Elsinore, the ultimate lake destination. A place where Dream Extreme isn't just a slogan, it's a way of life. And while other cities may be content with staying the course, the people of Lake Elsinore dare to dream the big dream, the most audacious of American dreams, to build a better future for all of us. And when obstacles arise, as they always do in Lake Elsinore, we meet them face to face. No matter what the challenge, we roll up our sleeves and we get to work. The State of the City is about the fun, the excitement, the drama, the progress, and, of course, the dream. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the State of the City for the action sports capital of the world, the City of Lake Elsinore. How's that?
That's good.
Let's go with that.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Well, that video pretty much showcased everything that we really need to show tonight, so good night and God bless. No, I'm just kidding. You're not getting off that easy. I've got you here for at least 45 minutes, and I'll keep you here for an hour if you don't laugh at my jokes. As you can tell from the video, I am beyond excited to be here tonight to share our story. A story that I believe that will extend well beyond us. In preparing for tonight's event, we debated how to best set the tone for this evening. And we arrived at this video, which some people might think was a little risky. What did you think? Sounds like you liked it. Truth is, it doesn't matter what you think because we filmed it, we produced it, and then we showed it. So, but I'm glad you liked it. This was the important part. The point, though, is we took a risk. We took a big risk in trying to do something kind of cinematic, and that risk has paid off. We live in a city of risk takers, people that sometimes risk their lives for the things they love to do here in this city. Funny story. 32 years ago, a young couple in their 30s took a risk, packed up their 4 kids, took everything they owned, and they bought their first house in a city that they were unfamiliar with, they knew nothing about. They bought a home. It was a permanent move. But if it weren't for this risk and the amazing support that I received subsequently, I would not be standing here speaking to you tonight. I'm talking about my parents, Steve and Catalina Manos, who are sitting in the front row here. I'm pretty sure they didn't realize they were going to have a mayor come out of the whole thing, but they did have 3 more kids afterwards. Many of my brother John, my sister Katrina, and my other sister Natalie. Katrina's my daughter, so you have to understand that. They have 13 grandchildren, many of which are all still Lake Elsinore residents. They remain proud Lake Elsinore residents to this day. So in the same vein, this city has taken great risks in the recent past, from changing leadership, hiring new city management, and taking a hard look at things that needed improvement in our city. We have made great strides despite the risks. Our journey to this point has not been an easy one, though. It takes hard work. Now, 7 years ago, my colleagues and I worked together to create a vision for the future of Lake Elsinore. Since then, we've been working to tackle the very difficult challenges of the past and to change the future of our community. At this time, I want to acknowledge my colleagues for their part in this great success and the things I get to talk about here tonight. Mayor Pro Tem Brian Tisdale, Councilmember Natasha Johnson, you're welcome to applaud each of them as they're called. Councilmember Bob McGee, and Councilmember Tim Sheridan, who joined the council just last year. This is important, guys. We are a team, and this team has been racking up wins. Together, we've remained focused on our vision, and we live it every day. And now, we are crushing it. And others are starting to take notice, and our residents are even starting to recognize that our momentum is moving us in a new direction. Lake Elsinore is emerging as a place to be, the place to get away to, as a place to invest in, and as a place that you can call home. There is great evidence of this as our population has grown by more than 120% over just the past 19 years. And today, nearly 60,000 residents live in our city. We remain a young city with a median age of just 31.5 years old. In fact, we have third-party verification of this. In March, the New York Times wrote that according to the American Community Survey, Lake Elsinore is ranked 3rd in the state for the largest share of residents under the age of 40. 67.6% of residents were below this threshold. Our average household income has increased to $81,815 per year. And while we have welcomed thousands of new residents, home builders have planned and approved another 20,000 homes here within the city. Now, financially speaking, we're also improving. Revenues are at a record level at $45.9 million. Our sales tax revenues have climbed by 75% in just the last 5 years. And property tax values are near their peak, with assessed values at roughly $6.5 billion. It's a pretty strong argument there. Most importantly, in my opinion, unemployment rates have dropped to 3.9%. You have to realize it was 12.9% when I entered office in 2012. It's a huge drop. An encouraging fact this year is that our retail sales grew by more than 3%, which at first glance may not seem like a big number, but that was twice as much as the rate of growth at the national level in the same statistic. So currently our annual operating budget is up to nearly $46 million, with half of these funds spent on public safety. And notably, we learned that despite a very expensive year of unexpected costs, the city was able to find ways to cut and stay within budget. And we didn't touch a penny of our reserves. This is large, please. This is largely through the efforts of our dynamic management team. And this dynamic management team is led by City Manager Grant Yates. Where's Grant? There he is. And I have to acknowledge Assistant City Manager Jason Simpson. Where is he? Why is this seat so bad? Man, you should be closer to the front. You saved us a bunch of money. That was crazy. We'll fix that next year. Brian. Our team continues to find ways to leverage our existing and future dollars for critical projects in the city year after year. In the last year, we've been hard at work improving our community and addressing key infrastructure needs. One of our largest investments has been in our roadways. This year, we improved nearly $2 million nearly 2 million square feet of roads, including Graham Avenue, Palomar Street, Summerhill Drive, the entire length of Lincoln Street, parts of Grand Avenue, and Parkview. Get that up. Okay. And of course, one of our largest accomplishments, the widening and rehabilitation of Railroad Canyon Road, which is now a smoother, safer, expanded route to the eastern part of our city and beyond. These efforts were further augmented by adding new sidewalks, curb, gutter, drainage, bike lanes all along these roadways. We completed 5 additional bike lane and sidewalk projects, including Sumner Avenue, Lakeshore Drive, Machado Street, Mission Trail, and Cheney Street. We're nearing completion of our first active transportation plan, which identifies 121 projects that will make us a multimodal community in the future. Also, we're just getting started on a $1.9 million urban greening grant project that would improve the walkability and beautification of Spring Street in our historic downtown. Finally, we were grateful to receive a $5 million grant from the Southern California Association of Governments and the Riverside County Transportation Commission, also known as SCAG and RCTC, for the completion of the Marietta Creek Regional Trail. Now, once complete, this 16-mile trail will connect Temecula, Marietta, Wildomar, and of course, Lake Elsinore. Now, 4 years ago, I stood on this stage and I praised our efforts to pave everything. That's what I said. I said it just like that too, pave everything. And once again, we have been paving roads throughout the city. And we're not done. We're constructing some of our biggest roadway projects yet. Currently, we're under construction on the Camino del Norte extension, which they've shown here. This approximately 1-mile-long road will provide access to nearly 140 acres of pristine freeway frontage, land, and offer our residents another route to access the freeway and other parts of the city. In the next few months, we'll get to work to improving some of our oldest roadways by tackling 30 road segments in our downtown. And most exciting, and somewhat terrifying, this spring, we will finally begin the long-awaited, much-anticipated Railroad Canyon Interchange. This project is going to be painful, and yes, I do expect to receive quite a bit of hate mail on this one. So right now, in partnership with RCTC, we are preparing to keep the community and the region informed throughout the project, which should be completed, and I say should be completed, by 2022 is the estimated completion date. But you know how that works, weather, whatnot. Tonight I ask the commuters and residents to remain patient. This new interchange will greatly improve congestion on the I-15 and along the regional corridor, while also breathing new life into one of our older commercial centers. Every interchange in this city is currently in some stage of planning or approval in anticipation of future expansion. Of course, we can't forget about our parks. As I always say, great parks make great cities. In June, we reopened McVicker Canyon Skate Park. This was the city's first skate park ever created. As a youth growing up here, I can remember my younger siblings, right, some of them are here today, and their friends, they couldn't skate anywhere. It was illegal to skate in most places. They were getting kicked out of the school, so they went to council meetings as teenagers, demanding for a place to safely and legally skate. This eventually led to the opening of this skate park in 2002. Now today, this new 13,000 square foot skate park is now our third skate park in the city and our most extreme yet. It's a complete rebuild. I was so excited about this project that when we did the grand opening, I put a great deal of faith in this young man who came up to me and asked if he could ollie over me. Now, for those of you who are not initiated to skateboarding, ollieing means that a person's going to ride a skateboard and manipulate it in such a way, at such a speed, to go ahead and make it jump and over typically an inanimate object, like a rail or a rock or stairs. They do all trash cans, they do all sorts of things. Usually not human beings. But I had to go ahead and oblige because, Lake Elsinore is extreme, right? What do you do? So the truth is, I only planned to do this for this one kid who I had seen practice and said, yeah, you can go ahead and pull it off, right? But suddenly, as he lined up and I laid down, as you can see in the picture here, this is me with a beard, a whole line of kids, as you can see in the background, decided, much to my chagrin, but how could you blame them? They do live in the action sports capital of the world, and we do kind of encourage it. So yeah, that happened. So other notable park projects this year include the final phase of Summerley Community Park, which now has dog parks, more baseball fields, and children's play areas. The remarkable clock tower at Rosetta Canyon Sports Park, which, if you drive by it, you can't miss it. It's actually a cell tower that's producing income for the city, but don't tell people that. I guess I'm kind of telling people that. That's what we call a win-win in the industry, so we'll take that, right? We like those. And then Christensen Park, named after the Christensen family that owned most of the land in Canyon Hills originally. This will end up being our 20th park in the city. So how do you make good news like this even better? This is what we were thinking when we were creating this, right? We have not been the only ones, the city has not been the only ones that have been hard at work investing in our community. Our regional and private sector partners have been following through on their promises by developing projects, opening new businesses, and creating local jobs. They've been doing it pretty well too. While we did see a slight slowdown in single-family home starts this year, we still have 3 multifamily developments that are currently under construction. The first 2, the Mission Trails apartments and the cottages, are affordable housing developments that will help us meet state requirements with respect to affordable workforce housing. The third development, Westlake by Pardee Homes, will create another 163 detached condos in the northern Lake Elsinore area and requires the addition of a much-needed traffic signal at the intersection of Riverside Drive and Graham. It's a very dangerous intersection. This year, we adopted the Nichols Road specific plan. This 72-acre site is a new master plan community that includes 168 single-family homes, more than 14 acres of commercial space, and 8 acres of park space. To provide food and services for our growing community, we excitedly welcomed several new businesses this year. These businesses included Jack in the Box, Rogue Knights, Panera Bread, Escapology, which is right next door. Really cool venue, check it out. Starbucks, another Starbucks, Skechers, Five Below, Ulta, Marshalls, Popeyes, and Ono Hawaiian Barbecue, and another Starbucks. No, not another Starbucks. I'm just kidding about that one. Soon, we are going to be thrilled to welcome even more, and the ones that are on their way are McGill's Jr., Verizon, Pyology. We have a Honda dealership coming into the city. That's pretty cool. Chick-fil-A, which the residents are excited about. Oh my God. And a new full-service Circle K on Riverside Drive. Again, doesn't sound like much, but if you knew what the old Circle K looked like that's going to end up going away, then you'd know this is a really big deal. It's going to really help our community. With these developments, we have set higher standards for surrounding improvements, signage, and building facades to turn what were once vacant, sometimes unsightly lots into new modern developments. Now, just yesterday, I had the privilege to celebrate the completion, the grand reopening of Albertsons on Riverside Drive. Now, this store originally opened 21 years ago, and so you mention this and you bring this up in a state, so you're like, it's a renovation, right? But in a city that's 131 years old, sometimes the reinvestment by a member of your business community is more important than the original investment, if you think about it. So I urge other businesses and property owners that are out there maybe watching to take note and recognize that now is the time to follow Albertsons' lead by reinvesting in their properties. I think the residents would appreciate that. Now, some larger projects actively under construction that I believe that will spur even more investment include the phase 2 of the Fairway Business Park. Rod Oshita's in the audience. I'm sure he appreciates that mention. The long-awaited sports complex. And by the end of the year, grading will finally begin on the future Walmart Supercenter, which you may not know is that Walmart has systemically canceled a lot of their planned projects all throughout the state of California, except for one. It's right here in Lake Elsinore. Now, downtown Lake Elsinore is evolving into a destination of its own. Our Downtown Merchants Association is reinvigorated. These, with 7 restaurants and an impressive historic museum, which is represented by the folks, there they are. These people are the Historic Society has worked so hard to maintain the integrity of the history of this city, and I genuinely appreciate your efforts. You guys are rarely mentioned, and I do want to go ahead and thank you folks openly. You do hard work, you really do. The downtown has unique vintage finds, artwork, vinyl records, wellness products, and even yoga. No matter what you're looking for, downtown LE has something for everyone. Now soon, you'll be excited to see that we'll be installing some very unique art sculptures that use dynamic LED lighting, some carve-outs. I don't want to tell too much about it because it's going to be a great surprise. But when you see them, they're big and they're impressive. And I think it's going to be one of those things that are going to get people to come down to our downtown and take a selfie in front of them. It's just kind of one of those meaningful pieces of artwork. We also can't forget about our schools. Lake Elsinore Unified School District is our largest employer in the city, providing nearly 2,500 jobs. After the passage of Measure V, the district is putting these tax dollars to work to create the very best for our youth. So far, more than $105 million has been invested into technology and state-of-the-art facilities, including iPads, MacBooks, Apple TVs, smart TVs, major upgrades to sports fields, and the creation of 21st century classrooms that are energy efficient and, most importantly, safe. Most notable is the construction of Albert Hill Elementary School. Now, opening next year, this will be the 13th elementary school in the district, and it will offer the very best amenities and technology available to our children. As a proud Lake Elsinore Unified School District alumni myself, I am extremely grateful for all they do and personally thankful for their efforts. Thank you so much, folks. Our businesses are the backbone of our community. They create jobs, they offer goods and services, and they encourage prosperity for our city and our nation. This year, I challenged our staff to highlight our business community. And as part of this effort, we reached out and asked businesses to let us know if they wanted to be featured this year in our State of the City. So tonight, I'm excited to give you a glimpse behind the scenes of Ellie at work. Take a look. I hope you enjoy.
The economy is booming again in Lake Elsinore. And we are proud to see that once again, significant investment, growth, and prosperity is occurring throughout our city. Each month, we are excited to welcome new businesses, and every day, more and more of our residents have the chance to work closer to home and end their long commutes. Over the last several years, many of our residents have taken advantage of the improving economy and decided to start and run their own businesses. Together, we have created thousands of new jobs, and our industries are expanding in all areas: industrial and manufacturing, education, retail, food services, construction, professional and management, and much more. Each day, these businesses and their employees work tirelessly to improve our community and grow their businesses. They are a critical piece to the success of our city. The economy is booming again in Lake Elsinore, and we will continue to proactively attract more services, more jobs, and more investment to ensure Lake Elsinore is the ultimate destination to live, work, and play, build futures, and fulfill dreams. Thank you to all our businesses, employees, developers, and investors for choosing our city. We are grateful for all you do in Lake Elsinore, and we wish you much success in the future.
Isn't it incredible to see the work taking place every day that is fueling our local, national, and global economy? From the prospering manufacturing businesses shipping products around the world to those who provide the services we need and want to offer the best quality of life for our growing families, these businesses are fulfilling the American dream. Thank you to all those businesses here tonight that let us come out and film you while you were at work. Okay. I don't know when you're applauding or not. I'll get that down eventually. All right. By the end of the evening, we'll have that together. That video was very well done. So I want to take a moment to go ahead and recognize our video production team, John Hess, and Creative Industries Media Group. Thank you for your hard work all year long. These shots are taken all throughout the year at all the ribbon cuttings, and for all the phenomenal videos created for tonight's event. So they did all the editing for that. I also want to thank Brian Shannon and his team at Morningstar Productions for the amazing audio and visual improvements this year. Please. These guys. Okay, back to business. So last year, we shared that the city had built a new identity, that we were ready, we were set, and then Lake Elsinore was being launched to new heights. And this year, well, let me tell you, boy did we launch. We launched into new challenges, we went into uncharted territory, and we tested the patience and the strength of our community, challenged our staff to go above and beyond the call of duty, and time again. We had to step up and get to work to show the world what Lake Elsinore was made of. So first, after surviving the raging holy fire that charred more than 20,000 acres surrounding the hillsides and threatened thousands of homes last fall, we got to preparing for what we knew was coming next, which was the holy flood. And so while last year we only received about 3 inches of rain, this year Mother Nature decided, in a cruel joke, to see how much we could handle. As more than 14 inches of rain dropped onto our city, and then even more than 20 inches, fell onto the holy fire burn scar area, That all sent water pouring through the canyons and then eventually into our community. The results were remarkable. We had losses, we had some scary moments, and we had some big messes to clean up. But we remained diligent and we stayed connected to our community, which they appreciated. We did everything we could to share the risks and urge our citizens to be prepared to stay on alert. So here's the crazy part. Even though the Holy Flood was calling on all of our available resources and forced our staff to work extremely hard all hours of the day, we weren't done. We were forced to face yet another challenge in December when we suffered through our longest fish die-off yet. Never happened before in the history of the city, and it was completely unexpected. Typically, fish die-offs occur during the hot summer months, so it was a mystery, a complete mystery to us as we were watching the fish struggle to survive and they were frantically seeking refuge outside of the lake. Over the course of 6 weeks, our staff worked day and night to remove by hand more than 150 tons of fish. The culprit ended up being golden algae, a new type of algae that was never documented before in Lake Elsinore that had the potential to decimate the entire fish population that existed in our lake. So, new crazy part. Ironically, the very rain that was creating the problems in the northern part of the city was the only thing to give us relief as the lake rose in its height more than 6 feet, which diluted and eliminated the golden algae. After the fish and the floods, our staff got a whole 2 weeks to go back to business as usual. And then there were poppies. In March, the hillsides to the east of the city exploded with color as more than 1,600 acres were covered in poppies that would attract the attention of the entire world. We knew from 2017 we could expect some flowers, and we had a contingency plan in place for that. These plans quickly failed as hundreds of thousands of visitors descended upon our city, choking our roadways and changing the normal lives of our community members. But as you know, we don't quit here in Lake Elsinore. So our city team immediately went to work forming a new plan. And then, this time, we failed again. Right? We shut down the super bloom to prevent the crisis from escalating even more. But little did we know that when we did that, we would only trigger more interest from the media for people who were interested in getting in to see the super bloom. So the next day we were bombarded by hundreds of phone calls from potential visitors, and I think there was more like 75 media inquiries from all around the world. It was insane. All eyes were on Lake Elsinore, waiting to see what we would do next. And we came to the realization that we were dealing with something that was it was kind of like its own natural disaster. We could not handle that on our own, and we reached out, and our partners in the region quickly came out to our rescue one more time. We mobilized shuttles, law enforcement, code enforcement, road closures, traffic closures, even the media. We went to work, and even my colleague, Councilwoman Natasha Johnson, and I, we threw on vests and we were helping direct traffic because we were out of people. Everybody at the city was working. Everybody was out there, which we weren't supposed to do, but that's between you and I, okay? Just don't tell anybody. Here's an interesting story to highlight how big this got, though. A local developer in this area was visiting Patagonia. That's in Antarctica. During the super bloom, and he called us to say that he was at a bar enjoying his vacation, and on the television screen, there was Lake Elsinore's hillsides. It was not far from where his property was. Full display. So if you're being played in Antarctica, you're probably not going to go ahead and escape the whole tragedy of this, right? It just was no escaping it. There was no stopping the crowds. There was no way to shut it down. As people parked along the freeway, they were dragging their kids and their dogs across the freeway, cutting holes in fences, crossing highway lanes. They were just determined to go ahead and get a look at what was going on. And as I've said before, it was insane. Nobody's ever dealt with something like that before. It was the poppy apocalypse. And it lasted 5 weeks, but we got through it, right? So while locals and probably most of you in this room may not have appreciated this event, it did showcase one thing: the amazing natural beauty all around us, which is yet another reason why Lake Elsinore is unique. In the midst of this chaos, though, we did have a really bad down note. CHP Motor Officer Steve Lycon was on duty in the area helping with the Super Bloom. He pulled over for a motorist for an unrelated CHP violation on the I-15. And while writing the citation, an intoxicated individual decided to drive on the shoulder to get around traffic, and he plummeted head-on into him without braking, taking his life. It was absolutely tragic. We couldn't believe it. I'd like to ask for a moment of silence to honor Sergeant Steve Lycon tonight. Thank you for your service, sir. For most cities, any one of these events alone would be a challenge. But in Lake Elsinore, we faced 4 extreme crises in less than 1 year. It taxed our team, it tested our mental and emotional strength, but it demonstrated how strong our community is and how well prepared we were. So in June, the Western Riverside Council of Governments, also known as WRCOG, recognized our entire community, not just the city government, but the residents and everybody that live here, including the businesses, and they honored us with the 2019 Community Service Public Agency Award. This was a very high honor and to be recognized in this group setting, folks. Hey, look, we got swag over here too. They happen to be in the room. Hey guys, yeah. They also received an award that night. Now, we did not overcome these challenges alone, and I must thank every person and organization that assisted our city in these difficult times. I think we captured most of them on this screen, but if we did not know that, every token of support during this time was incredibly invaluable. We greatly appreciate everyone that helped us in our time of need. Thank you. Lake Elsinore was known for another symbol of triumph over adversity this year, but this one is a much more positive story. So, just last month, local resident Cody Lee mesmerized everyone as he won America's Got Talent. Yeah. Heck yeah, right? Now, if you've been living under a rock and you don't know who Cody Lee is, let me tell you, you probably know. Despite his own challenges and disabilities, Cody took the risk. He believed in himself and inspired the entire world through his amazing talents. We congratulate him on his tremendous accomplishment, live TV, in front of the world. Hey man, that's a big stage to be on. I gotta tell you, I'm really impressed with that young man. As you can tell from everything that I've talked about tonight, we were definitely launched to new heights. And now people around the world, they know about Lake Elsinore, that's for sure. We demonstrated that Lake Elsinore not only does not only believe in its motto, we live it every day. Dream extreme, baby. We push the boundaries. We will not give up. We will persevere because we are Lake Elsinore and we believe in our community. This year, amid these crises, you would think that it would be difficult to stay focused on our vision, on our day-to-day pursuit to build a better future for our people. But let me tell you, I am beyond impressed by the work that we were still able to get done. For several years, we have talked about the importance of economic catalyst projects for our future. And this year, we completed our largest yet, Launch Point Recreational Destination and RV Park. We celebrated with a launch party that welcomed thousands of visitors. It is the ultimate lake destination that offers a truly unique camping experience unlike anything you have ever seen. And if you have not visited or stayed with us yet, I highly encourage you to do so. This is not just another project. It's part of our efforts to prepare for the future. We completely transformed an old, underutilized asset into a revenue-generating destination. The Launch Point is going to attract thousands of visitors to our city and our lake while also encouraging improvements and investments that will benefit all of us for years to come. While we are aware of most of our long-term needs, it's also important to encourage and engage and listen to our citizens. This year, we got to connect with the people of Lake Elsinore in kind of a different way. Now, personally, I've spent hundreds of hours on social media, fielding emails and talking to people on the phone. But in August, we decided to try a little something different. We launched Lake Elsinore Live as a proactive way to connect with citizens and answer their questions live on social media. This is literally us pointing a camera at us and saying, hey, ask me anything. It's kind of crazy, right? We also conducted a community issue survey to hear directly from residents. A total of 888 residents responded and were generally pleased with the quality of life in this city. Now, as expected, they still want a safe, clean, well-maintained city, as any resident would. Some of the highest ranked priorities of wants and needs included fixing our streets, maintaining our rapid 911 response rates, addressing homelessness, and improving our fire protection. Fast emergency response times for 911 calls are critical for saving lives, and we must continue to ensure that we have enough law enforcement officers, firefighters, and paramedics to respond quickly to 911 emergencies. So, yes, and they mentioned roads, and I couldn't agree more, right? While we have made significant improvements to roads in our area, we still have a lot of work to do. So far too many of our streets have still not been repaired or resurfaced in, say, 20 years. And we must be able to ensure ongoing and regular maintenance to prevent and reduce potholes in the future. Our lake is the jewel of our city. Funding to improve the lake's water quality, beaches, and recreational amenities would greatly enhance our local economy, our housing values, our quality of life. The truth is this: there have been no major projects associated with lake water improvement in the last decade, except for one. We could do better than that. After gaining this insight from our residents, we decided we wanted to continue the discussion, so our city staff is launching Let's Talk Lake Elsinore, a community engagement program to gather more feedback from residents on the services and priorities we should be addressing in our future vision for the city. Anyone can provide their feedback by completing a short survey on our website, and we welcome your thoughts to ensure Lake Elsinore remains a desirable place to live, work, and play. That is my final plug for the evening, okay? In the years ahead, the city is going to have some tough decisions to make, and we must remain resilient and focused on what is best for the community overall. These are going to be some of the biggest challenges to overcome yet, largely because much of these are beyond our control. Take, for instance, homelessness. With the support of our nonprofit partner, the Social Work Action Group, SWAG, back in the room, they made noise earlier. And the Lake Elsinore Sheriff's Department, which is over here, guys. We have had significant success. We have built a team that is eager to help those in need while remaining committed to a zero-tolerance policy. And we have done this with very little city funding to date. Now, right now, we're ramping up to do even more. The city, in partnership with Wildemar, District 1 for Riverside County, was awarded a $1.5 million grant to create new ways to house those who are on our streets. This issue is much bigger than just the city of Lake Elsinore. What the state and federal government do to help or hinder our efforts are way beyond our control. But in Lake Elsinore, we don't back down. We do what is right for our residents and our businesses. We will do everything we can to help those in need, but we will not allow illegal activities to happen on our streets. Another issue is both the rising cost and increasing demand for public safety. As we all know, there's a new sheriff in town. His name's Chad Bianco, and I must say that we've already seen a lot of positive changes. In January, we welcomed our newest police captain, Michael Lujan, and he has quickly jumped in. To do everything he can to serve and protect Lake Elsinore. He has built a new team that is pushing the boundaries, and he's responding to our needs when requested as much as humanly possible. While the quality of service is undeniably excellent, our challenge comes in the quantity of service that the city can afford to provide. As a contract city, the costs for services are set by the county, the sheriff's department, and since 2015, contract cities have insisted that ongoing cost increases were unsustainable. And the future is now. Some of our neighboring cities have made the difficult choice of moving to city police services. As leaders of our community, we have the duty to carefully consider all options for the future of law enforcement and fire services in this city. Finally, the Lake Elsinore Advanced Pump Storage Project, colloquially known as LEAPS. This nearly 20-year-old hydroelectric project has reemerged and is moving through the federal licensing process. And while the proposed project is mostly impacts Lakeland Village in the Cleveland National Forest area, it requires the use of the water in our lake for it to work. In April, my colleagues and I formally voted to oppose the project with conditions. I'll add that currently, in my opinion, there is no reason for us to support this project. However, we don't have ultimate say, and our ability to impact this project in the future is limited. Once again, we will not cower in the face of adversity. In June, we headed to Washington, D.C. to make sure our concerns were heard. We committed to doing whatever we can to preserve and protect the future of our lake and our community. That's City Manager Yates, myself, Councilwoman Natasha Johnson, and our Assistant City Attorney, David Mann. Thank you. Thank you for that. No leaps. All right. So as you can see, we are running at full speed here in Lake Elsinore. It is no surprise that others have taken notice of the changes occurring in our city. Just last month, the press enterprise recognized us for the first time ever as the third best city in Southwest Riverside County. So once again, we have third-party validation of that. That's a big deal. It's never happened before. You got Kelly Ciardo there receiving the award for first place, and Mike Nagara, who's in the room, didn't even show up for the second place award. I don't know what happened. What's going on? Oh, no, I'm sorry. Stu wasn't there. It was Stu's mayor this year. My apologies. All right. So we're going to hang that on him. Bill didn't even show up to go ahead and cheer us along. Gosh, man, that's Menifee's mayor. Sorry. All right. So he's in the room, too. Thanks for showing up. Sorry to heckle you, sir. Sorry. Okay. I love Bill. Okay. We are continuing our ascent to greatness. We are leaving the past behind and staying focused on our future. So now is the time to invite even more to come out and see why they want to be a part of the future of Lake Elsinore. Some may say, who would invest in Lake Elsinore?
You may be surprised.
Stunned to hear over 500 new businesses have opened in the last 3 years.
Shocked to hear thousands of new jobs have been created.
Amazed by all our new restaurants.
And guess what? There's more.
Did I miss anything?
Unreal, right?
Sometimes we can't believe it either.
Can you imagine the possibilities?
So come invest with us.
We might just surprise you! This is a smile on my face. I had a great time! Yeah, no. So are you surprised by that? Are you surprised that I would jump out of the airplane all just to go ahead and do a stunt on behalf of the city of Lake Elsinore? I was scared to death, by the way, okay? I never wanted to do that. This guy up here talked me into it. There's a story behind it. I'll tell it later. You can only imagine what was running through my mind as I prepared to jump out of this perfectly good airplane. So in this picture, and we have the video on this. This is my fake smile, okay? My wife can tell when I have a fake smile on. She's the only one that can beat me in poker, by the way. I was literally out loud. They asked me, how are you doing? I'm literally out loud questioning all of my life's decisions. Well, I'm kind of questioning how I got here right now, but it's been a pretty good life, so I can't complain much, sort of thing. Yeah. So, how many mayors out there would actually do something like this? I'm actually asking the question. We have mayors in this room here. How many mayors, by a raise of hands? Oh, no. Oh, we got one. We got one. So what's the point of this, right? There's got to be a point. It's not just me jumping out of an airplane. Everything we do is a risk. Everything. And as I mentioned earlier, the city has taken many risks, but the rewards have been well worth it. While we are talking about, side note, while we're talking about my big jump here, I want to talk about my wife, Veronica, who allowed me to do this after I upped my life insurance policy. So 20 years ago, on October 23rd, my wife took a much bigger jump with me when she said, I do. And she regretted every day afterwards. She is also nearly a lifelong Lake Elsinore native, and she is the whole reason why I can do what I'm doing here today. I thank you, sweetheart, and I love you. Now she has it on camera to prove in court. Okay. One of the most important things you can do as a leader is to leave an organization in better shape than it was before you started. The whole point tonight is challenging the people at home, our city staff, my colleagues, and each one of you. We must all be willing to continue taking risks and putting in the work. So now it's time once again to raise the bar and address some of our toughest challenges, to work even harder and strive for greatness. There is no time to rest on our laurels. Our dreams are always within reach, but only if we never stop believing and take that leap of faith and just go for it. So thank you all for being a wonderful audience tonight. Good night, and God bless.